let me say, a word in defense of reason in dialogue with faith.
Because faith is that proof. Faith unites us to that substance.
But reason, in order to realize its full potential, needs the horizons revealed by and truths contained in the faith. And not just any faith, but the Catholic faith.
And this is why last night I introduced that all-important term, mystagogy. Because it's one thing to see the divine economy as the plot of the whole Bible. Whenever you're reading a big book, it's important to get the plot. And you don't say, well, it's so big, I don't really need to get the plot. The bigger it is, the more crucial it is to grasp the story, the big picture, the plot. What is the plot of the whole Bible? It's what the early church fathers, echoing St. Paul, called the oikonomia. That's God's fatherly plan for his family. But the story is divided up into two parts, the old and the new. And so another term is applied, especially in the catechism, typology, to see how the old relates to the new and the new relates to the old. But a third term, the one I introduced last night, is the one that we really need to kind of take off the shelf, blow off the dust, and get it out of the realm of ecclesiastical jargon, mystagogy. Mystagogy. The mystagogical catechesis of St. Cyril I mentioned last night. St. Ambrose was regarded as a master mystagogue. All the bishops in the early church were called upon to do that, as well as the priests. Mystagogy, what did we say last night? It's guidance into the mysteries. The Catechism employs this term, and I want you to jot this down in your memory at least. 1075. Paragraph 1075 is one of the places the Catechism employs the term mystagogy. And it's not just jargon for, well, what you're supposed to do from Easter to Pentecost, or what they used to do in the ancient church. Listen to paragraphs 1074 and 1075. In 1074, the liturgy is the summit toward which the activity of the church is directed. It is also the font from which all her power flows. It is therefore the privileged place for catechizing the people of God. Catechesis is intrinsically linked with the whole of liturgical and sacramental activity. Why? To bring about the transformation of men and women. Well, how does that transformation take place? 1075, liturgical catechesis, mystagogy. I have another term that I like to swap out for mystagogy. I call it adult ed. Because this is what all adults ought to be learning. It is mystagogy, for it proceeds from the visible to the invisible, from the sign to the thing signified, from the sacraments to the mysteries themselves, from what is earthly to what is heavenly, from what is temporal to what is right under our noses but is eternal, from the human to the divine. Because in each and every single Mass, that's what's happening, whether we know it or not. That's what's happening, whether I believed it or not. That's what's happening, whether Catholic adults know it or not. But I tell you how spiritually handicapped they are if they don't even know what's going on every time they go to Mass, which might help us to understand why they don't really go that often, or when they do, it's just out of a sense of servile obligation. Hello, what's wrong with this picture? It is the singular privilege of being humans and yet being children of God that we can renew our covenant this way.